Today I'm answering your questions about the Luvele yogurt maker. I've owned my Luvele yogurt maker for about 2 years now, and I've been really happy with it. As you can see, it's behind me on the bench here, and I am fermenting kefir in it right now. I'm using it every day at the moment to ferment kefir because it's the middle of winter and my kefir takes too long if I leave it sitting on the bench. So I actually made a video about that recently, and you can find that here. But today, the purpose of this video is that I'm going to answer your questions, hopefully all of your questions, if you are looking at the Luvele. So I have made a number of videos that are on my channel already where I am making SIBO yogurt and Alruderi yogurt, which is the reason that I bought this machine in the first place, because I wanted to be able to ferment those 36-hour yogurts that need 36 hours to ferment at specific temperatures, and Luvele looked like a great option. And what I found is that the Luvele is actually really versatile. And so on those videos where I'm making my yogurt, I've got a couple of videos reviewing the Luvele as well, talking about the different features and the things that I like about it. So you can search my channel for those. I'll try and remember to pop links underneath the video so you can go and look at those. If you are thinking about buying a Luvele, hopefully I'm answering your questions today, because I get so many questions underneath my videos. So I've grabbed some of those questions, the common ones, and I thought today I will try and answer those for you to help you in the process of deciding whether this machine is for you or not. Okay, so let's do this. I didn't introduce myself before, so if you haven't been to my channel before, my name is Sue. Welcome. I have a list of questions on my computer, which is just over this way, and so I will be turning my head that way to have a look at the questions every now and then. Now, the first question that I have on here is a really simple one, but somebody is wanting to know if I store my Luvele in the box, and I do. I have the box still, as you saw at the beginning of the video, and when I'm not using my Luvele, I just pop it back in the box and put it in the bottom of the pantry because I've got space there. If there wasn't space there, I'd put it in a wardrobe somewhere, I guess. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room, but it's a really convenient place to store it. So that's a really simple answer to that one. Now, the next question, somebody has asked, what is it made of? She's thinking of possible toxicity from the plastic. Now, the machine is made from plastic, but the plastic isn't coming into contact with your yogurt in any way. So what it comes with, that machine that I have got, the green one, comes with a 2-litre borosilicate glass container. There is another model that comes with 4 ceramic containers. And so whether you use those containers that come with the machine or whether you use other jars, like I do sometimes as well, as long as you're using glass, that's what your yogurt is, and whatever you've got in there is coming into contact with. So the plastic machine is in no way having any impact on the purity of your yogurt or whatever you are fermenting in the Luvele. So the next question is, does the Luvele yogurt maker have the option to set the temperature to degrees Fahrenheit? And yes, it does. This is something I hadn't actually thought about when the question hit my video, but my machine is in Celsius because I'm in New Zealand, and my machine was purchased from the Australian website, but because I'm in New Zealand, if I was in Australia, it would be in Celsius as well. But if you are in the United States, when you go to their website, if you click on the link, I'll have the link to my link to Luvele below the video. If you use that, I thank you. If you go to their website, up the top you can drop down there to your country, and so then it changes it into your currency, so you can see how much it's going to cost in US dollars or whatever your currency is, and you will receive a machine with a US plug and where the temperature is in Fahrenheit rather than Celsius. So they make the models depending on where they're going. The model is dependent on where it's being purchased from. So the next question, is, how long was the wait time from order to delivery? And does anyone know how long after ordering does it take to ship? So from memory, they were really quick, and I've seen other people mention this as well. They're pretty fast at sending the orders out. And for me here in New Zealand, my order took about 10 days from memory to get here. If you're in the US, it might be a couple of weeks, just depending on whether customs holds it up as well, because that's always a possibility when things are coming in from other countries. But they're generally pretty quick to get things out to their customers. Now, the next question, they ship all over the world. As I mentioned before, if you're on their website, you can drop down the thing at the top and choose your country, and it gets sent to you. I'm not sure whether they all ship from Australia or whether they have distributors in other countries, but I've got a feeling that they ship from Australia, but they do ship all over the world. All right, so is the jar glass is the next question. As I said, the jar that comes with it is made from borosilicate glass, and so it is heat proof. That's another question I've had. It is heat proof. I was going to say fertilise. I don't know where that came from. I sterilise my jar using boiling water, and so I fill it up with boiling water from the kettle, and there's no problem there. It's definitely heat proof. Can also go in the dishwasher and all that sort of thing. And the ceramic jars that come with the little one, I would imagine would be exactly the same, because they do have to be sterilised. So boiling water is one way of doing that people commonly use. So the next question, someone has asked, would you recommend the brown one, so this is the other model, for a person living alone making smaller batches? Could you still just make a litre at a time? You could still just make a litre at a time. Okay. All right. So what they're asking is, would I recommend the brown one, which has got the smaller ceramic jars, for someone who's living on their own? Possibly. It just depends on how much you're likely to consume, how often you want to make it. So those ceramic jars are 400 millilitres each. So if you're using all four, that's going to make you a batch of 1.6 litres. The green model that I have comes with the 2 litre glass container. Now, you can make a 1 litre batch in that glass container if you want to. You can use smaller jars. You can order those little ceramic jars from Luvele and use those in the green machine. The green machine, the reason that I like that is it's so much more versatile because of the higher lid. You can use other size jars in there, and you can ferment other things in there, which I've spoken about in some of my other videos. And so for me, whether you're only wanting to make small amounts or large, I personally would opt for the green machine, just because it is so much more versatile. The brown machine is lower because it comes with those small jars. It's lower, and so that's you can't fit anything much higher in that machine, from what I can see. All right, so the other thing is that I have mentioned this in some of my other videos. I sometimes use the 2 litre container, and then I also have 4 glass jars that are gherkin jars or pickle jars that I have kept from my gherkins, and I use those in there. They fit in there perfectly. So 4 of them fit in the machine perfectly. The measurements on those are, because I have been asked that, what they measure. So the jars that I have measure, they're 5 inches tall, and they are 3.5 inches across, and they hold 670 mils, I think. So the circumference when you measure around them is 11.5 inches. Now, you won't, if you had 4 jars that were any bigger than that, you wouldn't fit them in the machine. So they're basically the perfect size. They're kind of the maximum size. They're pretty close together when they're sitting in the machine. So if you had some jars that were slightly taller but not as round circumference, they would fit, because I still have a bit of height left. But if they're too much taller, they won't fit because the lid kind of curves in. And so what I find sometimes, like at the moment, I'm making my kefir in my machine, as I said, and so I'm usually doing 2 jars at a time. And I'll use one of those gherkin jars, but I have some other jars that are slightly taller than the gherkin jars. I can fit one of those in if I put it in towards the middle of the machine, but if I was wanting to make 4, I wouldn't be able to do that. So hope you understand what I mean. But yeah, those measurements again are 5 inches tall, 3.5 inches diameter straight across, or 11.5 inches around if you're measuring right around the jar. Okay, so as I said, you can also buy the 400 ml jars from Luvele if you want to do that. New Zealand dollars, they're about $50. So US, you probably find they're maybe 30 US, I'm not really sure. You'd need to go to their website and check them out. All right, so what about the metal lids on the gherkin jars? Can we leave them on, screw them on tightly or loosely during fermentation? When you're fermenting, you want there to be room for air gases to escape, because anything that's fermenting is building up gases. So I put the lids on, but I just leave them loose so that any gases that are being made by the yogurt or kefir or whatever I'm making can escape and aren't going to cause any problems with your jars. So when you receive your machine, if you get the green one, it's got the 2-litre container. It actually has a silicone lid, so that is really flexible and it allows the gas to escape. All right, so what else? Can you tell me about using the unit for fermenting vegetables, or does this info come with it? No, that info does not come with it. So basically, if you're fermenting vegetables and you want them to ferment a bit faster, like in the middle of winter, like I'm doing with my kefir, you could ferment them in the Luvele and speed the process up, because you can keep a consistent temperature, and a bit higher temperature. The temperature that I would ferment them at, I would probably do them at about 28 degrees Celsius, whatever that converts to Fahrenheit. Just because it's like with my kefir, so I'm doing my kefir now at 29 degrees Celsius. If you have it too high, then chances are you may kill the bacteria. I kind of think about the ambient temperature that I know those ferments like in my house. So, for example, when I lived in Queensland and I was doing a lot of fermenting, a lot of the time the temperature would have been around about that 28, 29 degrees. And so that's why I kind of tend to stick to that. Chances are I could go up a little bit higher and it may ferment it faster, but I haven't really experimented with that. But here in New Zealand, I just know that, our temperature gets down to 14, 15 degrees Celsius in the winter, sometimes a bit colder. In our house, it stays a bit warmer, depending on whether we've got the fire going or not. But because the temperature's not consistently warm, it just takes longer to ferment things. So if I use the Luvele, it just makes it faster. All right, so what else? Could you make natto with it? Yes, I would imagine you could make natto with it. I haven't, but I can't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to make natto. Do you leave the rubber band on the jar when fermenting the unit? When fermenting with the unit? I didn't understand this question when I first saw it, but what she's talking about is the silicone ring around the 2-litre jar. So the 2-litre jar is glass and it's got a silicone band that's about so wide around it, and yes, you leave that on. That's just there to make it more non-slip when you're picking it up, because if it was just glass and it's reasonably heavy, it could slip out of your hands. That silicone lid just stays on it. Band just stays on it all the time, and as I said, it has the silicone lid as well. So what next? Let's have a look. Somebody said, I was thinking it might be a good way to speed sprouting of seeds in winter. Have you tried that? No, I haven't, but it's a good idea, and I may do, because I think we are thinking about putting some beetroot seeds in to make kvass very soon, and so I might try that, although I think because of my thing's busy making kefir, I might not be able to, although I could possibly put a tray of seeds in the back and just lift it up, but it might get try not to get dirt in my yogurt maker. But yeah, you definitely could try that, and it would probably work very well. I am having problems with my Luvele machine. Can you help? The temperature seems to be fluctuating and not right. Okay, so the answer to that is no, not really. I can't help. Your best bet, if you have a Luvele machine and it is playing up, or you're questioning something about the way that it's working, contact Luvele. They're fantastic. Their support is amazing, and they can definitely answer you all your questions. The lady who put this question on, she was trying to measure the temperature by putting a thermometer just in the hole and measuring the ambient air temperature in the machine, which is not going to give you any answers. So best to anything like that, just contact Luvele and they will answer your questions. They are really, really good to deal with. So I think that is one more question, not specifically about the machine though. Somebody asked, has the El Ruderi Subo yogurt worked for you, and what have you noticed? they definitely worked for me. They made a big difference. They didn't completely resolve all my problems. I had a lot of stuff going on with my gut, and which is now just about there. But they were a real turning point. They absolutely made a difference when I was making those yogurts and consuming them regularly. So if you have SIBO, if you have any kind of gut issue, I would highly recommend giving the L-Rootery or the SIBO yogurt a go and see what it does for you. So that's it. This is my video for today. I hope that if you are looking at the Luvele that I have answered your questions. If you've got any more questions, put them below the video and I will try and get to them as soon as I can. And if there's enough of them, I'll probably end up doing another video. If you are thinking about buying a machine and you're wanting to go and check them out, I'll have my link below the video, and so you can hop on through and have a look at the Luvele machines and see what they've got to offer and what prices they are, etc, etc. And yeah, that's it. So as I said, any comments or questions, put them below. I thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe, like and share, all that stuff. I thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you again another day. Goodbye for now.